Hello, Kodambakam guys. Welcome back. Now, the greatest problem that is facing Kodambakam is the threat, not the threat, but the ban by Karnataka Film Chamber on our own Kodambakam film, Thug Life. Our Thug Life kind of activities have not gone well with the Kannada people. Karnataka Film Chamber has banned Thug Life. To top it, Shivanna, who was honored at our very own Kodambakam in Chennai, has now gone back and he has now seen that the winds are blowing against him. So he says that he cannot be held responsible for all the things that Kamal has said. I did not know what he was talking on stage, but later when I heard it the second time, I don't subscribe to what Kamal says. So Shivanna is backtracked. Now going by that, shouldn't Shivanna be banned by Korambakam? That means what next? The other two, either remove Shivanna's portions or ban JAILER 2. No, banning JAILER 2 is not possible by Korambaka because that is our survivor's film. So what you do? Remove all the Shivanna portions. Fine. So Shivanna's portion should be removed from JAILER 2. And will that solve the problem? Now will that make Tamil the mother of Kannada, or will they both be brother and sister or two sisters? That we don't. For that, we'll have to ask the historical pundits, history pundits. See, this is a problem with history. When we studied history, we had struggled to pass history because you got to bug up all these dates. AD, BD, BC, all that. Dates you got to your end. And I don't know still why we studied Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and so many things, archaeological things, all that. We mugged up all that thing and we had to write it out. Dates are very important. As we get confused with that. Then the names, and when it comes to Mughal empire and all that, names are very confusing. So some names sound very similar. So all that was very, difficult for us during our school days. But luckily, somewhere along the school days, I think after 8th standard and all that, we did away with all this when we got into our subjects. So that way, history was not there. But there are people who have followed history as subject and taken it up to post graduation, and they have become historians. But to my knowledge, I don't have any friend historian. The only historian I had in my life was our film news Ananda. He was a historian of films. He used to collect all books, pamphlets, photographs, everything, and he had everything filed up and methodical. Every year he used to put out a booklet called Film Information Center. From there, I used to always every year put out a chart saying how many films got released in which all languages and how many films ran, how many got dubbed, how much were straight films and all those kind of things. But he never gave details about how many films popped and how many films were blockbusters. But he gave a detail about how many films conducted Silver Jubilee functions. Those days we used to conduct Silver Jubilee. 25 days was not there, 25 weeks. And slowly it started shrinking, it became 25 days. But even 100 days was a normal thing at that time. So he used to put out a list of films that celebrated that. Even if we ran for one show in one theater for 100 days, we used to celebrate 100th day of the film. Everybody used to be given shield, including journalists also will be given shield. We used to take the shield and keep it at home. As if we were responsible for making that film run 100 days. But anyway, it's a good thing for that. But not all producers remember journalists. But some did at that time. Because journalists were then, it didn't make any difference. There were 10, 15 sheets had to be made extra. But now if they do it, they'll have to make some 400 or 500 sheets. And getting the names right is also a problem. But I remember going for an award function and then, I got a sheet, memento that was given to me with somebody else's name. And that man received my memento. And from outside the theatre, outside the hall, we just exchanged it. And the chief guest was Vijaykanth. So he gave to me the moment, when I looked at it, he said, "Don't look at it. You go outside and exchange it." I didn't understand at that time. When I went outside, I saw it was some other honorable film director or somebody like that who was to receive it. Poor guy, he received my memento. It would have been a shame for him to keep my name memento in his cupboard. So luckily, we met outside and exchanged it. So similarly, history is a very difficult subject, and Kamal has not attended any school or written any exam. So he has gone and picked up history from what he has learnt. And on his way, he has read books, and that is how he has learned history. So somewhere along the line, that's what majority of the Tamil people. If you can't blame Kamal. What he has said is what is there in the Tamil anthem, Tamil Deshiya Geetham. I remember this Deshiya Geetham is kind of a red cloth to a bull, for as far as our governor, Honorable Governor Mr. R.N. Ravi is concerned. So anyway, this Tamil Deshiya Geetham has got the same things. It says in that, that Kannada is such a beautiful language, Telugu, says all of you are come from here, and I am the father of that. It kind of implies like that. So that is there in the national anthem. That is what he said here also. But actually, when he sat on stage, when I saw it, and he was looking at Shivaraj Kumar and talking, I thought he was meaning that, he was talking about Kodambagam. Because see, Dr. Rajkumar stayed in Kodambagam. His house is there in Trustpuram. Trustpuram, his house is there. And that is where he stayed. He also and his brother also stayed there. So he stayed there, and that is where it's still called Rajkumar House. And that is from there only they migrated to Karnataka. When they started to set up industry of their own in Bangalore, they moved from here to there. And Shivraj Kumar did his earlier schooling here. Like most of our guys like Balakrishna and Nagarjuna and all those people have studied here. Including, I think, right up to Mahesh Babu, I think, has studied here. So anyway, I thought he was talking about, going from Kodambakam to, see, I never knew he was talking about going from Tamil as the origin and Kannada going there. But I thought he was visually or metaphorically saying that, Raj Kumar started from Kodambagam and now he is there and he is our love in Karnataka and things like that. But that was not the case, I believe. Poor guy. He was also caught up, this kind of things. You don't seriously listen to his speeches. When you're on stage, you are caught up with so many things. Unless you are one of the speakers, then and it is some sort of like, where you are a speaker and you have to be very, because you have different conflicting people sitting on stage, then you got to be aware about what others are talking. Otherwise you just sit through and smile at everything. Even that guy is abusing somebody sweetly on the mic also, you just smile through it, and you don't really give note unless they get out and somebody says that, look, that guy had blasted that guy, why did you sit and smile? Then only you realize that he has blasted that guy. So this kind of happens because the sound of system is also coming from somewhere. So that way it is quite difficult to say. And Shivraj Kumar is not that kind of guy on the boil that he rises and immediately says, I don't know, I've never seen him do that. He's a very soft spoken person like his father. So anyway, Shivanna is now backtracked. He said, I don't subscribe to what Kamal says. Even many of the so-called history pundits say that Kamal's history is wrong. We should now relearn it. It is not so. It is justice for David comes from a Dravidian root, but it is not that they are Tamil is the father of Kannada. They are both siblings. That is the thing that I gather. But when it comes to dubbing in many languages, my friend Mammootty is one master in that. He always insists that he should give his voice in other languages, and he, to a certain extent, masks that Malayalam accent in most of the films that he has dubbed in other languages. So Kannada film, I remember he was dubbing. I think it was at SPB studio or something. I went there in the morning time or something there, and he was dubbing. And it was no, I think it was a Malayalam film where he was acting as a Kannadiga. something like that. Yeah, something to do with Kannada. He was acting as a Kannadiga and he had to speak Tulu, I think. Something like very complex. Any other guy would have dubbed it in Malayalam and sent it off because we Malayalis are not so very keen that he should speak, Mammootty should speak Tulu in his own voice, but he was very keen that he should speak in Tulu. So I asked him why he was doing it because he earlier also in one, what is that, Hindi film, he acted straight Hindi film, he dubbed it himself. He took great pains to dub it. Because always he felt that whenever another language that he is doing it, he should dub it in his own voice. Because that he says will always stand as a mark there, so that nobody tomorrow will dub it and he feels his voice is stamp, what is the ISI mark kind of thing. It is associated with his image or his face. So he used to tell me that I used to ask him because I have spent almost 1 or 2 years in Bangalore working in Deccan Herald. So at that time, I had managed to get away because I used to speak Malayalam and mixture of Tamil to most of these Kannadiga friends. And most of the time I used to get away because most of the auto rickshaw guys and all those guys knew Hindi. So I used to speak Hindi well because I was coming from Bombay. So I used to ask him, with this speaking Kannada itself is a thing, and how do you dub for it in that one language called Tulu and all that? He said that you won't believe it that all the South Indian languages. He said the most easiest to dub for a Malayali also. The most easiest to dub is Kannada because he says that there are so many words in Kannada that is very similar to Sanskrit. So that is how he says this is it's very easy because Malayalam words most of the Sanskrit stays. But one thing I used to because as a journalist I used to see that we used to have words like Rashtrapati because I have worked in North India, I have worked in South India, and I have edited copies. I find that when Rashtrapati Bhavan and all that it comes, they used to always everywhere I worked in even in the other states also. I find that they always use the word Rashtrapati itself. There is no substitute for Rashtrapati. But that Rashtrapati Bhavan, Rashtriya, this thing and all that. But here in Tamil, I realized while I was on the desk that it is not Rashtrapati. Kudiyarsa. We use that word. Because always everywhere, even in this thing, governor is governor itself. Is the English word. Rashtrapati is, I think it's a course from a Sanskrit word. Or Sanskrit or Hindi, I don't know, it is a class as you see. But Malayali, everywhere I have seen that they use the word Rashtrapati. But here we say Kudiyarsa Traivar or something like that, Taraigam or something, or Rashtrapati Bhavan. Like that, there are so many things, but Kamal's history lessons were from the Tamil anthem, so I can't say that his history teacher was bad or rather he picked the wrong books and read. Right, but at this rate, I think even Tamil anthem now will have to be rewritten because there it says that Tamil is the father of all these languages. So now I'm living at that and Shivanna, poor guy, normally he has just recovered from a surgery. I hope he doesn't strain himself too much. He should now contain himself to doing films that he likes most. So till then, goodbye guys.